right now. You could close this video or keep watching. That choice feels entirely yours. A free act, a genuine decision. But what if that feeling is wrong? What if the sense that you could have done otherwise is the most convincing illusion in all of human experience? Today, we're going to take free will apart and see whether anything survives. Free will feels indisputable. When you reach for a glass of water, you feel that you could have reached left or right, or not at all. When you make a moral choice, you feel responsible, genuinely responsible, for what you do. This intuition is so powerful that philosophers have spent centuries arguing not about whether it exists, but about how to justify it. The problem is, the more closely we examine it, the stranger it becomes. Here is the classic challenge. The universe obeys physical laws. Every event is caused by prior events. Your brain is made of atoms. Those atoms obey the same laws as everything else. So your decision, right now, is the result of brain states. Which are the result of earlier brain states? Which trace back to your childhood? Your genes? The Big Bang? If you rewound the universe to the moment before you chose, and played it forward again with identical conditions, you would make the identical choice. Not just probably, necessarily. This is hard determinism, and it leaves no room for freedom. In the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet ran an experiment that unsettled the field. He asked participants to flick their wrist whenever they felt like it, while he monitored their brain activity and had them report the moment they felt the urge to move. The brain showed a readiness potential, a buildup of electrical activity, up to 550 milliseconds before the hand moved. But participants only reported feeling the urge about 200 milliseconds before movement. Their brains were preparing the action before they were consciously aware of deciding to act. The decision seemed to happen in the brain first. The conscious experience of deciding came after. Some people see an escape route. Quantum mechanics. At the subatomic level, events are genuinely random, not just unpredictable, but actually indeterminate. So maybe the brain exploits quantum randomness to break the deterministic chain. Maybe free will lives in the quantum gaps. But here's the problem. Randomness isn't freedom either. If your decision is caused by a random quantum event, you didn't control it any more than if it were determined. A choice that comes from nowhere, from pure chance, isn't your choice. It's just noise. Neither determinism nor randomness seems to leave room for what we actually mean by free will. The dominant response among philosophers today is compatibilism. Compatibilists say the whole debate is confused. It's asking the wrong question. Free will, properly understood, doesn't require that you could have done otherwise in an absolute sense. It just requires that your action flows from your own desires, values, and reasoning, not from external coercion or internal compulsion. You act freely when you do what you want to do, when your want comes from who you are. A drug addict who can't stop is not free. A person who chooses to donate to charity because they value generosity is free. The difference is real, even if both are determined. Philosopher Frankfurt sharpened this with a thought experiment. Imagine a neuroscientist has implanted a device in your brain that will make you vote for candidate A if you show any sign of choosing candidate B, but you never show that sign. You freely choose candidate A on your own. The device never activates. Did you act freely? It seems like you did. And yet, you could not have done otherwise. The device would have prevented it. Frankfurt argued this shows that moral responsibility doesn't actually require the ability to do otherwise. What matters is that the action came from you. Here is what makes this question so strange. Even people who are intellectually convinced that free will is an illusion cannot live as if it is. You cannot genuinely stop making choices, feeling regret, holding others responsible. When someone harms you, You feel they should have done otherwise. Even if you believe, in the abstract, that they were determined to do it. The philosopher Galen Strawson called this the basic argument. Even if free will is impossible in theory, the phenomenology of agency is inescapable in practice. The illusion is load-bearing. We are built to believe it. This isn't merely academic. If free will is an illusion, what becomes of moral responsibility? Of punishment? Of praise? If the criminal was determined to commit the crime, retributive justice looks barbaric, a system that punishes people for events they could not have prevented. Some philosophers think this should push us toward purely consequentialist punishment, not because you deserved it, but because it deters others. Others think compatibilism preserves enough of what we care about, but the debate is live, urgent, and affects how we think about law, praise, blame, and the whole architecture of human relationships. So, do you have free will? The honest answer is that we don't fully know. What we know is this: the hard incompatibilist position, that determinism eliminates freedom, faces serious philosophical objections from compatibilism and Frankfurt cases. The neuroscience is suggestive but not conclusive. Libet's results have been contested and reinterpreted. And whatever the metaphysics, the experience of agency is inescapable. Free will may or may not be real, but the question of what we mean by it, and what we owe each other if it isn't, that question is one of the most important we face. The Big Questions continues.